Hello and welcome to the center of the universe. And today we're going to talk about FM synthesis, and I have a guest, Viviana, aka Whale Shark Attacks.
Hello.
And for many people, also those interested in synths, FM synthesis is something really mysterious and difficult.
I like how it sounds, but I don't know why.
Yeah, and today Vivi is going to be the question mark, and I'm trying to show that it's not that difficult in the end.
FM stands for Frequency Modulation Synthesis. History. Officially discovered by John Chowning in autumn 1967 while experimenting with vibrato and two oscillators, where one oscillator modulated the pitch of the other. After increasing the vibrato depth and speed, Chowning discovered he heard one complex tone. He tried out different frequencies and envelopes, and he finds that this produces harmonic overtones that could be used in music. Although this is the official start of FM in musical applications, FM had been possible before in modular systems such as Buchla synths, but not in a digitally controlled environment. John Chowning, founder of CCRMA, the Center for Computer Research and Music and Acoustics. He is a composer and used FM with the golden mean in the work Stria. Development. FM synthesis algorithm was licensed to Japanese company Yamaha in 1973. Prior to that, mostly used in FM radio, which uses the same technique but for modulating a signal for transmission that would be demodulated in radio receivers. Yamaha started developing FM for use in synths, with the first prototype in 1974, releasing the first commercially available in 1981, Electone F70, and a month later the Yamaha GS1. Commercialization. The Yamaha DX7 in 1983. Sold 200,000 units in 3 years. Used by many 80s bands like Aha, Prince, Phil Collins. It had a huge impact on the sound of the 80s pop music, with presets like Bass 1 and E-Piano 1. Hard to program with only one slider, yet some artists like Brian Eno made their own patches. Some successors: Yamaha DX7 II that we show in this video, Korg 707, Ableton Operator that we show in this video, Polka FM, Electron Digiton. FM versus subtractive. Subtractive synths. Sound produced by oscillators that produces a waveform such as a square, triangle, saw, noise. Subtracts the signals through envelopes and filters. Examples: analog synths such as Minimoog, ARP, Roland, Juno 60. In the digital domain, analog model synths such as Microkorg, Virus, Roland SH201, and also a plethora of VST and soft synths. Frequency modulation. Sound is produced by oscillators producing simple waveforms, usually a sine wave. One wave modulates the frequency of a wave from another oscillator, producing complex tones by making a very fast vibrato. Oscillators with amplitude and pitch envelopes are grouped into parts called operators. The most common waveform is a sine wave, but other waveforms can also be used. The operator that produces the sound we hear is called the carrier. The operator that produces the modulating wave is called the modulator. The amount of modulation is called the modulation index. The relationship between the pitch and the operators is called ratios. The DX7 has 6 operators. The Ableton Operator has 4, like many of the DX7 successors. The arrangement that determines which operator modulates which is called the algorithm. Theory. The modulator modulates the pitch of the carrier. The spectrum of the sounds get overtones spaced by the frequency of the modulator times 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And negative bands by the modulator subtracted times 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Applications. On the classic FM synths such as the Yamaha DX series and many other synths, FM is used to imitate the sounds of acoustic and electric instruments. This is maybe more successful than using subtractive synthesis to achieve, yet it sounds quite artificial, and at some point sampling took over as the main method of imitating instruments. The sounds of the DX7 became an icon of the sound of the 80s, with presets such as E-Piano 1 and Bass 1. FM is effective to simulate the sound of bells, organs and electric pianos. FM can be used to create new, unique sounds that are hard to make with subtractive synthesis. FM is also usable for percussive and drum sounds if short time envelopes are used. Used extensively in modern dance music, both for bass sounds, pads and leads.
And if we're going to show the most, we're going to show the most easy FM that can be made, and compare it to the subtractive synthesis.
Okay.
So we start with the Ableton, and the one that is called Operator. That's an FM synth. It's like.
Is that a VST?
It's a native Ableton plug.
Okay.
So it's like inside Ableton, but it behaves like a VST. And there is a free VST called Dext.
Yes, I have it.
That is like quite similar to this.
Aha.
But this is even easier. So if we start with just like the preset, if we start with the initial preset, it's just a sine wave.
Yeah.
And it has 4 operators. It's these 4, A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
And this is now the A is the only one that is sounding.
Okay.
And it has a sine wave, as you can see here.
Yeah.
And the easiest way of making FM is to introduce operator B.
Okay. So 2 sine waves on top of each other.
They're not on top of each other.
Oh.
One is vibrating the other.
Okay, so one affects. Is it A that affects B or vice
Now
versa?
it's B that affects A.
Okay, and why does it do that? Is it?
That's the algorithms.
Okay.
And this is the algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it with the mouse pointer. This is the algorithms. And you can see that the different operators are feeding into each other.
Does this look like an FM wave, kind of?
No, this is just a diagram of which operator that affects.
Okay, but they're in different patterns. So is that different ways of modulating the sine wave?
No, they are all sine waves.
Okay.
So it's like this one is we can see the first algorithm here. This is like really inspired by the DX7 that we're going to look on afterwards. You can see that the green one is feeding into the yellow one.
Mm.
And if we are like redoing Chowning's experiment, we could start it out as a vibrato.
Okay.
Now this is set to notes. Chorus is set to the notes we play on the keyboard. But we could make it a fixed frequency. So it's like a fixed frequency that just stays.
Okay.
Whatever we play on the keyboard. And we could start with like 10 hertz. And you can hear.
Okay, it's a level of modulation.
Yeah, this is the level of operator B.
Okay.
and also what you call the modulation index. So this is how much the B affects the A.
Yeah.
This is the level of oscillator B, of operator B.
Operator B, yeah.
But the operator and oscillator is the same thing.
Oh, okay.
But we call it an operator in FM.
Okay, so that decides how much operator B modulates, or the degree of modulation.
That's the modulation index.
Yeah.
So when we like go louder, we go from 0 to 1. You can hear the note is starting to vibrate. And the thing with FM is that it is just like a vibrato, actually. That is super fast. So if you like increase the frequency like this, at a certain point you will start hearing it as one note, and not or one waveform, not a vibrato. So if you go. So here you go. It gets loud. So this is like the basic FM.
Okay. And how would it sound if you just do it like a short hit? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and and this you could do with the buckla back in the 70s. But the realization of John Chowning is that you can tune this. Like if you put this for not fixed, but you put it as to be the same note as the B. So A and B is the same note. Then you get like this musical application.
It sounds like a sort of cut-off filter, or
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it sounds like filtering.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Okay, because it doesn't affect the frequency range like a.
Yeah, it does, but it does in a different way.
Okay.
And you can see it if you.
I mean, it does. I can hear that it does, but it's not the same sort of just opening up the frequency.
That's the interesting thing, because it's kind of musically it works in the same way as filtering, but there's more possibilities, since you can only have you can have more than one filter, but one filter used to take away. Filtering takes away stuff, and FM is like adding. So that's the.
So instead of limiting the frequency range, you would just add more frequency, like a larger frequency range.
Yeah. Okay. I could show you now. Let's compare to subtractive. If we would do subtractive synthesis, we would not start with a sine wave. We'd start with like square wave, or saw wave, like square wave, just to be
any wave, or
just to be like a little rude. We can use like a square wave.
Yeah. And
then you can see the overtones. And maybe we watch them linearly. It's you can see the overtones of the square wave, and then we apply a low pass filter, and you can see that they disappear. Until there's like, there's still, the overtones are still there. And if we have a like rougher filter, it's like we go down to the amount of hertz we're putting for the filter. But with FM it's the other way around. If we go back to the sine wave, you can see like this without the filter. You can see we have it's only one. There's only one.
One wave.
Yeah, one frequency. It's just a sine. And then when we add FM, you can see it's like more overtones. But there's much more to it. And because it's as with filters and synthesis, it's like you used to have an envelope controlling the.
Yeah, I must admit I've never understood envelope like what it is, but
No, but this is a good time
yeah.
to show an envelope, both in FM and for subtractive, because it's
Yeah.
like most people doing synths say like tweak envelopes. They don't actually understand
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, you have like an intuitive understanding, but it's
And at least most people understand maybe look into the camera saying this. Most people understand at least the attack and the release
yeah.
of an envelope. But it's a good time to show. It's a good time to show an envelope for just like one sine wave.
Mm.
And the operator is really easy with this because you can actually see the envelope and you can tweak it. So here it's the sound attack is when the sound starts.
Yeah, so that would be a vertical if it's a fast attack.
Yeah, it starts at once. It's like 0 milliseconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the decay is the like next step after you hit the key but haven't released it.
Yeah, like how long it will, the rate of sort of decay.
Yeah,
of the tone.
it's made because then you could have have a louder start of the sound than after you like touch the key.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I actually adjust the sustain. Yeah, the sustain is the is the amount, and the decay is the time. And the release is the time after you let go. But there are like more than one. This is the ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release.
Okay.
But there's more different kind of envelopes in different kind of synths.
So, but this is like a standard classic envelope.
This is a standard envelope.
Okay, because I'm used to tweaking all those parameters, but I didn't know that it was called one thing because you don't really have an envelope knob.
No. But the attack and release is this always the same.
Okay. I didn't know that it was just
ADSR is always the same.
Yeah.
On all synths. But as we can see with the DX, there's like Yamaha have a completely different system, which is much more complicated.
So different package of
just different names and much more possibilities, because this is like just one possible envelope.
Yeah.
But it's enough. But in Operator, in Ableton, there are like different ways of like looping the envelope and doing different stuff. But that's like beyond the scope of this, maybe.
Okay.
But for basic FM, we can use just like the attack and decay and release, maybe sometimes the sustain. And the point with this is that if you have a sound that starts at once, you can have different envelopes for the carrier, which is the
operator A.
The operator A, and the modulator, that is operator B.
So you call the original sine wave the carrier?
Yeah, the carrier is the...
Okay, bad.
I should have said that in the start, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. The carrier is the one you hear, and the modulator... The carrier is the one you hear, and the modulator is the one that you don't hear.
Okay,
directly.
but that affects the carrier.
That affects the carrier.
Okay.
And the point with this is that you can have different envelopes, so that you can make adjust the envelope of the modulator.
Yeah.
So
you still use a DSR envelope on B, but you just tweak the parameters on each operator.
Yeah, you could do a lot of stuff with only two. Mainly, I use only two operators, and I just tweak this stuff, and I get all sorts of sounds.
Okay.
So it's it's really easy actually. Okay, so if we start with a new operator where all the envelopes are the same, and then we add some modulation, and we get the FM sound.
Yeah.
And then we make a different envelope for the B. Like maybe just like push down the sustain.
Yeah.
So the sound will, when I hit the key, the sound will start and then it will start decaying at once. Then we get like this bass.
Cool.
It's close to the solid bass preset.
What if you just like up the release a little bit just to hear variations of?
Yeah, now it already now we could make a longer.
Can you make like a sort of a more wavy?
Yeah, we can, but that's if we set more put the release longer for the main for the carrier, then we get like this little burst of FM and then just a sine wave. If we could go the other way around, we could like make the modulator introduce itself like
later,
like
slower attack. Yeah.
So that's the basics. But we could also like change the course of the modulator.
But is there is there still like a sine wave at the bottom of the sound, or is the original modulated as well, or is it two layers? Kind of?
I think it's still a sine wave, but it has some like extra sine waves applied to it.
Okay.
I really don't know how that looks.
Just wonder if there's still if there is a sound like
but you can see that the main frequency is still there.
Yeah.
But so that's the like super basics. And if you start having different frequencies, different courses for the B, then you get all the interesting sounds.
Okay, so the other way around, that you
no, you still have A as carrier, but you start experimenting with the different courses for. So
I've never actually heard the term coarse and fine in a synthesizer because coarse to me is like sort of chunky and rough.
A coarse is just like the series of overtones.
Okay.
So if you turn off B, if you only hear A, you can hear like this. It just moves up.
Oh.
You just transpose it in the harmonic series.
Oh yeah, the course. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 100 hertz, 200 hertz, 300 hertz.
Yeah.
If the main one is 100 hertz.
Yeah.
You just like add.
Yeah.
And it's not octaves. It's the overtone series.
Yeah.
So it's just like a transposition of the
like a mathematical sort of.
Yeah, it's the overtones.
Yeah.
So that's the. So here we have this like stupid bass sound, but if this wobbler bass, but if you start like doing different courses, you get different kind of sounds.
Sounds coarse, all right. But can you modulate the course a little bit more on the B?
Yeah.
Just to hear.
Yeah, this is super.
Does it sound really extreme if you turn it?
Yeah, I think if you put like if you have like really high ones, it will like it will make like a really high overtones. So that's
it reminds me a bit of if you tweak the resonance button too much and it becomes really sort of harsh.
Yeah, but that's used for like if you have the sound of someone hitting a key.
Yeah.
You could use like this. You could have like a little bit, just like a little bit of the like 32 or.
Now it sounds like a mallet, like a plong.
It easily sounds like a mallet, but it sounds like really. If you do like this now, it sounds like really harsh.
Yeah.
But these sounds are like very common when you like hit something. So if we get when you start to use more operators, then you use those really high ones on the top, just to make this little attack when you hit something.
But it's interesting because you didn't do this to A, right? So
no, A is just like plain.
But the B operator actually kills the
You still
the
hear
sustain
when
and the decay of
you
A.
now you hear no it doesn't, but you hear the B first, and it goes away, and you're left with the sine wave,
Okay.
but it still sounds like a mallet.
Hmm.
So that's interesting.
So what happens if you add operator C into the mix? Like you.
Yeah, it depends, but it's like it depends on the algorithm. And now you could have a look at the algorithms again.
So this is the algorithm we're using now, which is just a vertical
Yeah, this is like
pattern.
D is modulating C, C is modulating B, and B is modulating A.
Okay, but this other one is like D and C is modulating B and A or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I
it's
get
like
it.
if this is the at the extreme left, it's like everyone is modulating the one below.
Yeah.
And the extreme right is like nothing is modulating each other.
What's the point of using that?
You make like an organ sound.
Yeah.
It's like if you have like, if you now set this, if we copy back to the normal envelope, and we start like, this is what is called additive synthesis actually. If we use
The horizontal.
yeah, the horizontal one. This you can make like, if you make like 1, 3, 5, 7.
Do they? Is it like a linear?
Yeah, now they just play out. They're not.
They're all playing at once.
They don't affect each other.
They're just okay.
They're just
I see.
added together.
It's like putting 4 tracks on top of each other.
Yeah, it is.
Ah.
So, but that's like excellent for like making. Oh no, it's only one note playing
If
at
you-
once.
Yeah.
It's excellent for making like. Oh, it's too loud. For making like organ sounds.
Ah.
You can easily do like just additive.
Yeah, because you just want like a collection of different frequency
Yeah.
ranges. Okay, instead of having one inform or affect the other.
Yeah, but
Ah.
it's the interesting thing with this is like you can see like this algorithm. It's like here you have like 3.
Looks like a folder, like computer folder.
Yeah, here you have like 3 operators, and then you have the one on top that is modulating all of them.
Ah, so you have sort of 3 tracks with one main.
So that could be like really interesting for making like organ-like sounds. And yeah, it still sounds a bit like filtering.
That was a
And then there's a feedback on that is always on the top modulator, and on some synths there's like feedback on all of them.
But why is it on the top?
Because the feedback is the modulator that is modulating itself.
Okay, so you want that to be the last link that sends the feedback?
Because it's like, it easily gets like really, really sharp when you use the feedback. It's like often it goes the whole way to like noise,
Cool.
which could be really nice.
Yeah.
This is like people used to stop before they get this like.
Because they think they're destroying their speakers.
Yeah, but it's actually I really like this feedback.
So there's no risk here now.
There's no risk here now, but
okay.
if you play it like really, really loud, but it could be some. I think like some really interesting FM sounds is like on the edge of being pushed too far.
Okay.
So,
but I mean, the volume will be more or less the same, or
yeah, it will. As you can see, it will just
noise?
get a lot of overtones, because when it starts modulating itself, it feeds back, so it will get like. You could see if we take a simple one and feedback. Like here we have feedback on the top. We can see how the feedback is like giving it a lot of character, really, really fast.
Even the top ghost frequency, or
no, we could see like if we take this algorithm and we just listen to C.
Mm.
It's the only one that you can actually hear, and then so D is modulating C. And here you get a lot of overtones, but if you now I already had the feedback on. Okay, again. You get a lot of overtones, but you only come so far.
Yeah.
But if you introduce feedback, you go all the way.
Of course, yeah.
And then into noise. At some point you will get into...
Because there are so many layers that it...
Yeah, there's so many overtones that they start to like reflect back.
Yeah, but is the sort of distortion, does it come from it not being able to process the information in a sort of rational way anymore? Or is it sort of... Because there's so many layers of feedback that it...
I think it's because it's so many overtones that you start to hear it as noise.
Yeah, okay.
And it's also an interesting phenomenon is what you call a Nyquist frequency. It's like this, it's the like the limit of the sample rate. So you start to like, there's something called aliasing. That if there's like something that goes even faster than the sample rate, the frequency starts to bounce back.
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, I could show you that's and then it will like, it sounds like a ring modulation that we mentioned. If you have some like really high carrier like this, you can see now this synth has a like anti-alias function that we can turn off. so we can see like we introduced
yeah, there's some really high overtones.
If we have like 45, now 43, and we start like, and you can see you get like 2 overtones there and 2 overtones there.
That's very odd. Why are they spread out like that? Can you change?
Yeah, we can change where they are placed with the course. But why are they 2? I think it's because like this one bounces back in 0 and it bounces up there.
Yeah.
Or are they? But
there's more.
Yeah, there's some more. If we start increasing the index, you will see when we get overtones there and we get overtones there.
The frequency of the feedback increases, maybe?
This is not the feedback. This is just just a modulator.
Okay.
But when we go like here, you can see they start to bounce back, and you get this like weird
bunnies.
Yeah, bunnies.
Like
if you go like really even.
So lots of rabbits popping up from behind the.
Yeah, but we get some inharmonic frequencies doing this. I can't really hear them too well. And it's like.
My teeth can hear them.
Well, that was really interesting.
I learned so many things.
Yeah.
So many new things. Very interesting.
It wasn't that difficult after all.
No, it's very simple. No, it's not. Bye.